this should build up pretty fast.
What's that one?
Instagram. So we are live on Instagram and we are live on YouTube at the same time.
We're live.
I like that. I can never do that. Somebody just sent me a heart. I always fuck it up. Oh look, I actually got proper hearts going across the screen like this. Oh Ben, breaking things.
It's because I'm so big.
I know, it's just so hench. Caught you at 2 AM in my time. That's incredible. Like, I don't know what 2 AM looks like anymore. I used to frequently visit 2 AM when I used to do a lot of fucking drugs, but that was like 3.5 years ago. Now, well, I think my bedtime's about 10 o'clock now. Welcome anyway, glad that you caught it live. Have you heard of the dog food smack? Any thoughts or ratings? No, I haven't heard of them, I'm afraid. There are so many brands of dog food and so many new brands coming out, it's impossible to keep up with all of them. What I will tell you though is look at the ingredients, because by law it's a legal requirement that ingredients are listed in order of quantity, which means that first ingredient makes up the bulk of that food. So if that first ingredient isn't a proper meat, if it says animal derivatives or something like that, or cereal, you definitely don't want that. Also, look at the ingredients. If you're unsure about the ingredients, you can Google them. You want to make sure that everything in there is nutritionally beneficial for the dog. Hi from Norway, love that. Hi from Kirby in Ashfield, love that. Hello from India. I love that people follow us in India. Australia, I think Australia's our third biggest following. Like, the Australians seem to love us. I've always said that I think we would fare much better in Australia. They have much more of a savage humour. I really like the Australian way of life, plus the weather's much better. Although what does scare me is the thought that everything out there can kill you, even bushes.
Yeah, I don't like the spiders.
Yeah.
You can have the spiders, too many legs. Hi from New Zealand. Hello from New Zealand we got.
So just to let you guys know, we are dual streaming right now. We are also on YouTube. If you jump over to YouTube, you are much more likely to get your question answered quicker. The way this is going to work is we're going to go Instagram, YouTube. Savage humour is correct, love that. So hi from Scotland, hi from Finland. So yeah, you're much more likely to get your question answered on YouTube, and that's simply because YouTube isn't as big as our Instagram. Hi from Serbia. Do you have an affiliate program? In what aspect affiliate program? Have you heard of Find Me Tag, best out there? Oh, that's from Find Me app. Of course, they're going to say.
Right, I got a question here from Emma.
Go on then.
Hi, my puppy's 14 weeks. It's really picky with her food. Eats a bit, and she leaves it. She hasn't gained weight for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And she's a boxer.
So, a couple of things. Number one, if you are concerned about the weight of your dog or health of your dog in any way, shape, or form, you want to be going to a vet. I cannot stress that strongly enough. Yeah. The other thing, when it comes to food, all right, there's a couple of things we can do. Number one, we don't want to make our dogs fussy. If we keep changing the food, this actually encourages the dog to ignore the food in hopes you're going to replace it with something different. So we find a food that's nutritionally beneficial. So you want to avoid anything like Baker's, Pedigree, Ooka Banuka, Wainwright's, Royal Canin, that kind of stuff. And you want to look more natural food, like raw food, something like that. Generally, when you put a dog on a raw food diet, they all of a sudden stop being as fussy, plus it's the best food for them. The other thing you can do is, I don't feed puppies from a bowl. I think it's a waste of time. I take the puppy's daily food allowance. The daily food allowance is how much that puppy would eat throughout the day. So if you used to feed them twice a day, take the combined values of their bowls and put that together. That's their total daily food allowance. If you feed them 3 times, take those 3 bowls, put them together. That's the daily total food allowance. What we then do is take that food and we stick it in a treat pouch. We forget set meal times, and every time the puppy does something we like or something we ask, boom, we're always in a position to reinforce it. By doing this, what happens is you're forced to interact with your dog. You bring out their food drive, you make them less fussy, you reduce the chance of ever having food aggression. It strengthens your bond, strengthens your obedience. Why half price? Oh, good question. So this number is backwards, I know, but I will say it now. It's 01702 746961. Because the sun is out, because it's a nice day, it's put me in a good mood. I know there's a lot of people out there that want to help their dog, but may not necessarily be able to afford their dog. because summer is coming. This means we're going to have a lot of unruly dogs running around. There's a fucking bird in here!
Oh, we got a bird! Oh, there is. Now it's gone.
Oh my god, I don't like flying things. That actually happened.
That did happen.
Shit.
Your panic made me panic.
I don't like fucking things that fly at you, particularly when they're in an environment where they panic. You just learned something new about me, guys. So the bird's gone now. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of unruly dogs. There's going to be a lot of people that want to take their dog out. Summer's there. You want to enjoy it. So I figured we'll do a half price, which means if you ring that number, you can have a half price 1-to-1. So yeah, go and do that. Anything happening on YouTube?
Yeah, I got a question here.
Go on then, let's
It's
go.
how do I stop my Labrador eating mouldy bread or anything he can find on a walk? I imagine a lot of people have to deal with their dog picking stuff up.
It's about controlling the dog's head more than anything else. Most people these days will walk their dog in a harness, right? And what the harness does and why the harness was invented, it was invented primarily for two main reasons. For the dog to pull and for the dog to track. When a dog is tracking, it primarily has its head down, nose to the floor, searching. Yeah. Now, before any wise ass tries to twist my words, it doesn't make a dog pull. 4 legs, 2 legs, they move quicker than us. Watch your dog go from point A to point B. It moves quicker than you. Hits the end of the leads, you keep moving forward. This is why dogs pull. The harness allows the dog to pull comfortably. If it's in tracking mode, it is going to find hidden gems like mouldy bread, like other bits that it can eat. And it's a Labrador, it's followed by its belly. So, what we do is we teach the dog how to walk properly. On our YouTube, there is a lead walking tutorial. It teaches you how to control the dog's head. If you can control the dog's head, you can stop it from eating things off the floor. You alright, Ev?
Hello, would you like to pick up a penguin?
No, thank you.
Didn't think you would, Ben will.
I'll eat Adams.
Yeah, you can eat my penguin. That's not a euphemism either.
Oh, giggity. Pirate said you're awesome.
Thank you. Ev, you missed all the fun.
Sorry, why was the penguin's head so cold?
Why was the penguin's head so cold?
Because he was wearing an ice cap.
How do penguins get around? On bicycles.
Well, last one.
Go on,
How
Ev.
does a penguin make pancakes? With its flippers.
I like that. I'm going to tell that to my daughter. She'll get a kick out of that with its flippers.
Anyway,
Yeah, back to
you
what we're
missed all
doing.
the fun.
Are
A
we
bird
dual
flew
living?
in here. We
Yeah.
are dual living.
a bird flew in.
A
Yeah,
bird flew in
bird flew
here
in
and
here.
Adam shit himself.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
You know, honestly, not many people know this, but I have a bit of a phobia of things that fly at you. I don't like butterflies. I don't like moths.
Is that why you're okay with dogs?
Yeah, I'm fine because they don't fly. Yeah, you know, you can see
Thanks for
it coming.
clearing that
It's
up.
not unpredictable. Real knee slapper there, pal. Yeah, I know, it's a great. What's your opinion on QR pet ID tags? Well, find me _me_app. I think crumb pet tags are amazing.
Literally, so good.
So good, he almost fell over.
I did. We have one somewhere.
Thoughts on button up box? I'll be totally honest with you. I've never used it, but it's cooked food, and I don't see why you are cooking the food. Dogs can eat the food raw. That's where it maintains the most amount of nutrition for the dog. And when you cook the food, you take away a lot of the goodness. Is it better than, say, Baker's, Pedigree, things like that? Yes. Is it better than raw food? No. And for me, I feed my dogs the best. So, because we don't necessarily allow for free advertisement on here, this is the ID tag that we recommend. It's by Crumb. There is a QR code on the back. This QR code helps other Crumb users and vets find your dog and people if your dog gets lost. Where can they find a Crumb pet tag?
On our website.
On our website. So if you go to our website, southenddogtraining.co.uk,
You can order one for free.
you can get a free Crumb pet tag. Now, the reason I like this is because the dog wears it on its collar. Should the worst ever happen and your dog goes missing, this can allow you to quickly find your dog. So it is worth having. It is free to get. Just go to our website. Could I please send you ours, even if it meets the UK law?
No.
No. It's a conflict of interest.
Yes.
What's the best to feed my Rottweilers? Raw food. Ben, what's happening on YouTube?
What's happening on YouTube? How is the best to deal with a nervous 5 months?
Shall I take
Yeah,
over?
go on, because I can't read.
Good effort, though, man. Good effort.
CJ SVR Rider, how is best to deal with a nervous 5-month-old Aussie pup? Try not to pamper and cuddle him. What's best to build his confidence? He growls at new people and things.
Yeah, so position is everything when it comes to dogs meeting new people. So one of the things we have to look at is often when something approaches a dog, if it's in front of you, in their mind, they're going to get to everything first. And then because people are so handsy, with the dog there, they naturally will start to stare at it, hold their hand out for the dog to sniff or talk to it. If you stop and the dog's in front of you and you say, please ignore my dog, it's nervous, everyone suddenly becomes a dog expert. And again, same thing. Oh, I love dogs. Oh, I love Australian Shepherd. Was it a cattle dog or a shepherd?
I just said Aussie pup.
Aussie pup, so probably a shepherd, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But anyway, what happens is then, because the dog was nervous and no one listened to it, it has a bad experience. So if my dog is nervous of new people, I make sure my dog's on a lead and I'll make sure my dog's slightly behind me. That way my dog can be with us, but I'm taking the lead. The best thing for a nervous dog is for people to act as if it doesn't exist, and then your dog can just comfortably get used to that person. The more people force themselves on the dog, the worse it gets. So make sure you're advocating by having your dog slightly behind you when new people are there. If it's people coming into your house, keep your dog on the lead until your dog is calm. What's up, man? Hope you're having a blessed day. Thank you so much. Much respect from the United Arab Emirates. That's amazing. I love how diverse our following is. It's fantastic.
It is.
How do I get my 9-month-old retriever to stop barking at smaller dogs? It's like he thinks they're funny and still very playful. So, be proactive. So one of the things that we do is if we have a reactive dog, we keep repeating the same pattern of behaviour and expecting different results. This is not going to help us. We'll do lead walking around the streets where our dog doesn't know how to walk properly on the lead or things like that. Or we'll go to a park where there's a bunch of off-lead dogs. So history keeps repeating itself over and over again. If I had a dog that was nervous of dogs or nervous of people, I would put my dog in the car and I would drive somewhere like a Pets at Home. The reason I'd go somewhere like a Pets at Home is because it's a dog-friendly place. So you're going to see dogs coming and going. You're going to see people coming and going. So this is a perfect opportunity to get a lot of exposure for your dog. Most of these are on industrial estates that have lots of space. So I'd hang out at the back, I would take my dog's favourite toy, or I'd take my dog's breakfast with him, or my dog's dinner with me, depending what time of day it was. I would have a clicker or a marker word, and every time my dog looks at the thing that makes it uncomfortable, whether that's a dog, a person, this can also apply to cats, squirrels, basically any trigger, I would mark it, click, click. I would move backwards. If it was a toy, it'd be a tug toy. We'd engage in tug of war. If it's food, I would drop it down on the floor. Very quickly, your dog's going to start looking at these triggers, and instead of looking and fixating, it's going to start looking and going, hey, where's my toy? Hey, where's my reward? I'm then going to reward my dog there. This is called changing your dog's emotional response, and I'll get closer and closer to that main entrance of the shop, the more my dog relaxes. When my dog's had some repetitions doing this over a period of a week or two, then I would start going to more places. I'll also make sure my dog understands the lead, because if your dog is barking on the lead, this is what we call lead reactivity. It's a type of lead reactivity, and you're never fixing that until your dog understands the lead. Everything I've just mentioned can be broken down in the full-length videos we upload on YouTube twice a week, including lead walking, including with reactive Labradors. Go check out our YouTube videos.
Julie Langland, why does my dog eat other dogs' poo? She just turned 3 years old and suddenly started this winter eating other dogs' poo.
Because dogs are disgusting. To put it bluntly, dogs are gross. They'll eat horse shit, they'll eat rabbit shit, they'll roll in horse shit, they'll roll in bird shit, they'll roll in horse shit, they'll eat other dogs' feces. They're an animal at the end of the day, they're disgusting. It's not what we want. Teach your dog a solid leave it and make sure your dog has a solid recall if your dog's off the lead. That's the only way it's happening. It's happening because it's being reinforced. So you want to make sure that if your dog's off the lead, it understands both leave it and what come means. That's how you stop it. When people go, how do I stop my dog rolling in shit? Your dog will often tell you before it rolls in shit, it will pay a lot of attention to a certain area. It will dip its hip a little, shoulder a little bit, then it's on its back, legs in the air. The way you stop that is simply by having a decent leave it command or a very decent recall, straight away from it, yeah? And if you can't do that and you're letting your dog off the lead, you're setting your dog up to fail, you're setting yourself up to fail. Put your dog on a long line, strip it back to basics a little bit.
Guys, there are a lot of you asking questions on here at the moment. We've got 100 of you on YouTube alone.
Wow!
So, yes. Adam, is there anything they can do to make sure their question is answered?
Well, at this moment in time, if it keeps getting busier, what we'll do is we'll jump over to YouTube because we are trying to build YouTube. And plus YouTube's a free platform, so you guys can still see us on YouTube. There is a thing on YouTube which I discovered the other day. You can send us a tip. So if you like the advice that we're giving you and things like that.
A tip for a tip?
A tip for a tip. Now, I'm not saying if you don't send us a tip that you won't get your question answered. I'll forever give free advice to you guys, but tips will take priority. So on YouTube, you can send a tip. That will obviously take priority for obvious reasons, but it doesn't mean that you won't get your question answered.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee every single person will get their question answered. I can guarantee, though, anyone that sends a tip will. Thanks for all the advice. Thank you. My 7-month-old cane corso wakes up at 4:30 a.m. We let her out to a wee, recreate her, but she howls until we get up. It wakes the neighbours. Right, so 4:30 a.m. your dog has become your alarm. Now, at 7 months old, if you're feeding your dog a decent diet and your dog has no underlying health issues, it should have full bladder control by the age of 7 months, which means it should be able to hold its bladder another half an hour, okay? So, what I would do is I would ignore my dog when it wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, wait for it to go quiet, whether that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and the second you get some silence, then go and let your dog out. So you may end up waking up at, having to get up at 4:45. But by doing this, you can gradually increase the time in which you want to get that dog to let you out. You know what I mean. You can gradually increase that time. Ev, YouTube, what's happening?
Josh Bennett. Sometimes when I fart, my eyeballs pop out of my eye sockets. What do you recommend I feed my dog?
Well, I still recommend you feed your dog raw food. I'd also see a doctor about your eyeballs popping out of his socket, but definitely raw food. The question to what should I feed my dog will always be raw food.
Yeah. Always priority.
Yeah, because it's the best diet for a dog. Amazing. Thank you for the advice. You're welcome. When I reduce my 55 kilo, when do I reduce my 55 kilo cane corso to 1 meal a day? Whenever you want, right? The reality is, I don't start my relationship with a dog with set meal times. So my dog doesn't have 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day. It has constant food throughout the day. What I mean by this is if you was watching the start of the live, we take the dog's daily food allowance, we stick that in a treat pouch. There are no set meal times. So then when the dog is at a level I'm happy with in terms of training, then I become a lazy person and I'll put the dog's food in a bowl and I'll feed them once a day in the evening after a walk.
Right. Morris Mum, how can I help my pup? He's 13 months old and he goes crazy at any reflections or shadows moving. It's driving us crazy. What can I do to help him?
Yeah, so what dog is it? Did you say?
Didn't say.
Didn't say. Sounds like a Spaniel, Frenchie, some sort of fucking working breed. Could be any dog. It's not exclusive to these, but I see it a lot in Spaniels. And I also see it a lot if you played with a laser pen with a dog. Laser pens, never ever play with a laser pen with a dog. Because it's an endless pursuit of nothing. The dog can never win, it can send them doolally. Now, there is a use for a laser pen when it comes to dog training, but that's more for service dogs, assistance dogs, things like that, where you basically point to a specific target you want the dog to go over to, but then the dog gets a reward for doing so. So people that have limited mobility and things, they can use a laser pen, but these dogs are trained from a young age. When we take a laser pen and we use it as a way of burning the dog's energy, getting them to chase it, what happens is the dogs actually go a bit fucking mental and it can pass over to them chasing reflections from your watch, reflections from your necklace, reflections from your glasses, reflections from the sun hitting windows. Now, when it comes to something like this, we need to interrupt and then redirect to what we want. So if my dog, I would have my dog on a lead in the house. If it chased after a shadow, I'd step on that lead. I'd give a sharp pop on that lead. I'd tell my dog enough, and then I would lead my dog to its bed, lead my dog to the sofa, lead my dog and put it into a down, something. So I'm giving my dog, this is what I want you to do. And if you do this instead, there is a consequence. If you do this, good things happen. That's what I would do. Somebody did ask me a question a second ago. I need to see if I can find it. It was quite a good question. Let's have a look. Amazing, thank you for the advice. I looked at that. Where is that question gone? I don't know. Oh yeah, so I live in an earthquake prone area. Could you share some tips for an emergency situations, please? I'll be honest with you, I can't. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I don't live in an earthquake prone area. I've never experienced an earthquake, and chances are I'm never going to experience an earthquake. So I don't know what the actual protocol for an earthquake is. I know you're meant to get under something, like a table or something like that. If you was in an earthquake, I would keep my dog with me. I wouldn't necessarily leave it, unless the crate was like an impact crate designed to withstand car crashes.
I would probably get outside and get away from any buildings.
But
you don't want anything falling on you.
I believe the protocol is to get under something, so I'd make sure that I got my dog, and whatever the protocol was, I'd make sure my dog was with me. Yeah.
If anyone can tell us what the protocol is for an earthquake,
yeah, no,
please do.
It's a genuine question, but for me, I look at any sort of disaster that could strike. I'd always want my dog with me versus my dog being left in a room by itself or in a crate by itself or things like that. I would, in an emergency, I'd grab my kids, I'd grab the dogs, and we would go and we would follow the emergency protocols. Right, YouTube, what's happening?
It is get under something. Ben just confirmed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Nat Rosie, my dog is in heat for the first time. She's really anxious whilst walking since being in heat. How can I support her during this time?
Remove your emotions. Understand that this isn't a forever thing. You can make it a forever thing if you start to feel sorry for your dog, if you start to coddle your dog, if you start to imagine the problems are worse than what they are. What will happen is the dog will be stuck after the season has finished. When your dog's in its first season, it's a completely foreign time to the dog. Its hormones are rising. Some dogs aren't really affected by it too much. Some dogs can go off their food. Some dogs can be more withdrawn, more sluggish, more lazy. Other dogs can go the exact opposite way and become more flirtatious, more energetic. So it affects every dog differently. But it's normal for your dog to miss a meal here, a meal there. It's normal for your dog to be a little bit withdrawn. All you do is just keep to the normal routine the best you can. Keep your dog on the lead. Focus more on street walking. Make sure you're not letting your dog off the lead, and avoid places where there's off-lead dogs until your dog's out of season. If you do it right and remove your emotions, by the time the season's finished, your dog should be absolutely fine. Right. Let's have a look what's happening on Instagram. 3-year-old border collie that is only reactive to any other male dog. That typically means that you probably have a male dog who's probably entire, and the male dogs he's reacted to are also entire. This is very, very common. Now, this happens more frequently when we go places where off-lead dogs run over to our dog and we don't advocate for our dog, or we allow our dog to run over to other dogs and we just hope that the dog's going to get along. All of this can be avoided by keeping your dog on a lead. Yeah, or if it's off the lead, making sure it has a bomb-proof recall, and if you see other dogs in the distance, calling your dog back to you until you can assess whether that dog is an appropriate dog you can let your dog say hello to. And if that dog's running over to you, your dog goes behind you, you build a force field around your dog. Anyone should be doing that, regardless of whether their dog is reactive or not to males. Everyone should be protecting their dog from off-lead dogs running over to them. You might think your dog's friendly. That dog over there might be friendly, but when they get together, they could clash. And if your dog gets attacked on your if your dog gets attacked on your watch, this is how they become reactive. This is how they lose trust in you. And if you can't keep your dog under control when there's off-lead dogs around, you're not ready to be there yet. You need to strip it back to basics. Again, any of our full-length content on YouTube will help you.
Katarina's got a good question. My Shiba was just diagnosed with dual loose patella on the back of the knees.
Okay.
Doctor recommended to rest and no lateral movements. She is restless and gets zoomies all the time. How do we keep her fulfilled?
Well, on a lead, you can block zoomies just like that, and in a crate, you can prevent the dog from fucking running around and getting himself up to no good. So, patella luxation or even cruciate problems are very common in dogs. My late Rottweiler had a cruciate operation, my late Staffy had a cruciate operation, and my late Terrier had a cruciate operation. There is some scientific research going in to suggest that this could be a genetic thing. Not enough evidence out there just yet. We know hip dysplasia can be hereditary, but there's some studies being done to see if like cruciate injuries and cruciate problems and stuff like that, patellar luxation can be. Now, what made my life easy is the dog was in the crate after its operation, and then when I had to take the dog out of the crate every 1 to 2 hours to take it into garden, to go to the toilet and to stretch its legs, I would do it on a lead. By doing that, you keep life nice and simple. The reality is, if your dog's not crate trained, this is one of the main reasons why your dog should have been crate trained, guys. We may sit there and go, do you know what, my dog has never needed a crate. However, if your dog does have an operation, that crate is going to be the safest place. And here's why. Most dogs react to the doorbell, right? Your dog is an idiot. And I mean that with the utmost respect. Dogs, doorbell, natural reaction, go run into the door. Now, the first day when your dog comes out of surgery, it's going to be a bit groggy, feeling sorry for itself. Day 2, day 3, your dog starts to think it's fucking better than what it actually is physically. Doorbell goes, your dog goes fucking running, undoes all of that work. In the crate, it's the safest place for it, and out of the crate, it should be on a lead. Just for this time period until your dog can go back to full fitness. Not a question, just thank you. Your advice about shouting sit to an approaching dog worked for me twice. I was so grateful. I love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, we don't think about it, guys. We are, for the best part, and again, no offence meant here. We are too naive when it comes to friendliness of our dog and off-lead dogs. We are far too naive. Yeah. Just because your dog's friendly doesn't mean it's going to be friendly with every dog it sees. And even if your dog has been friendly with every dog it sees, doesn't mean that friendly dog that the owner's going, it's okay, it's friendly, is going to be friendly with your dog. Understand, when a dog meets another dog for the first time, they are strangers. Same-sex aggression is a thing. You can have a nervous dog that's friendly and an overexcitable dog that's friendly, and the overexcitable dog can overwhelm the nervous dog. Yeah, you can have 2 strong cocksure males or females that are friendly, but together they can clash. Every time you stand there as a dog runs over to your dog and you do nothing about it, if shit hits the fan, your dog has a shit experience, and then every dog has a tolerance. If you are missing the pressure your dog is under time and time again, eventually your dog snaps and you're like, shit, that's never happened before. You start having to go at your dog, even though your dog was under pressure this whole time and nobody intervened on your dog's behalf. So it loses trust in you and becomes reactive. And if you just cross your fingers and hope it works out the best and the dog runs over to your dog and it attacks your dog, well, Jesus fuck Christ, you just witnessed your dog get attacked and you did nothing. So yeah. It's not about your dog not being able to play with other dogs or say hello to other dogs. It's about having that option. It's about making sure that if a dog runs over to you, yeah, and the owner hasn't asked, that dog's not under control. So don't let that dog say hello to your dog. Build that bridge for your dog. YouTube?
Marie Cutler, can a martingale collar be used instead of a slip lead for training?
It depends on the dog more than anything else. So a slip lead is a step up from a martingale collar. So yes, you could probably get any dog to walk nice on a martingale collar. It's going to take a lot longer than it needs to be. But if your dog is severely reactive and a big powerhouse, it's probably not the right tool for you. A slip lead will give you more control. Depending on the individual dog, though, yes, a martingale could be used. But there's nothing wrong with a slip lead if you use it properly. Right, Instagram world, I'm going to love you and leave you, and we are going to jump over to YouTube right now. Now, you are welcome to come and join us over on YouTube and ask your questions over there. It's at Southend Dog Training. The only reason we're jumping over to YouTube is because we are trying to build our YouTube, okay? And it's you guys that have helped us grow this massive following on Instagram. If you want to come and help us out and help by subscribing to our YouTube channel and joining us over there, it would mean the world to us. Before I go on Instagram and why I'm still on YouTube, just a friendly reminder, guys, if you ring this number, 01702 746961, and again, you can check my stories to get that number, 01702 746961, you can have a half-price training session right now. So make sure you ring that number, okay, if you are struggling with your dog. It's never been cheaper to get training for your dog. Get some training right now, because summer is coming. You're going to be out with your dog. you owe it to your dog. Have a well-behaved dog this summer. We need to reduce the amount of out-of-control dogs running around, particularly when we have the seasonal dog walkers out when it's sunny. So yeah, spread the word. If you know somebody that needs help with their dog, get them to ring that number. Why that offer lasts? It's on my stories, 24 hours. That's all you've got. When that's gone, it's gone. So go check it out. See you over on YouTube.
Marie's dog, Martingale collar, is just a greyhound.
Yeah, so greyhounds are primarily one of the easiest dogs on the planet to train. You can do. What you do have to think about though is if you do administer a correction, the correction will be much more forceful for a martingale or a normal collar than it will with a slip lead. This is where people get it twisted. So a lot of people don't want to use like a prong collar or don't want to use like a slip lead or something like that because they think it's cruel. But then what happens is they will yank so hard on their dog when it's reacting to a dog on a normal collar or on a harness or on a martingale, and you're actually putting way more force through that lead, which is actually doing more harm than good. So you do have to bear that in mind. The more advanced the training tool, the more control you have and the less force is needed to get the dog to do what you want to do. But give a martingale a go. Just give it a go. Yeah, it's all trial and error at the end of the day. Put a martingale on your dog, condition your dog to it. There's a video on this YouTube right now how to do that. It's with a slip lead, but the principle methodology is the same. How you would condition a dog to a martingale, halty, prong collar, normal collar. It doesn't really work so much with a normal collar or a harness because they don't apply pressure. Any tool that applies pressure, yeah, you can watch the slip lead tutorial and you can apply the same technique. It just might not give you the same results, yeah. But you can apply that technique, give it a go.
Tiffany Brown, what's the best way to socialise a very small dog?
Social ignorance and going to different places. So everybody thinks socialising is dogs playing with other dogs, and that is the final part of socialising, and that should be a very small portion of your socialising. The main focus of your socialising should be going to many different places at different times of the day, different weathers, different sights, different sounds, different smells. You want to think about all the things that you are likely to encounter in your dog's life and start taking your dog there for short periods of time. You don't have to do a new place every single day. Just do a new place once a week or twice a week, something like that. But train stations, bus stops, town centres, seafronts, parks, woods, yeah. You want to expose your dog to those things that you are likely to encounter and have some fun with your dog along the way. You're also going to see people and dogs along the way. Yeah, so you teach your dog good things come from ignoring that. Your dog should ignore more dogs and people than it gets to say hello to. You got to think about your dog's interaction with dogs and people, right? So if we imagine we have like a bar here, yeah, this is your dog's interaction with people. If your dog is interacting with people and dogs every single day, what happens is you get devalued. So the more this goes up, the more this goes down. The more this goes down, the more the dog loses interest in you and has more interest over here and will get frustrated and act up if it can't get over here. Also, why it's over here, yeah, playing with dogs, meeting dogs every single day, and that's becoming an expectation, your dog is at much higher risk of developing behavioural problems and worse, running into trouble and getting itself in trouble and having a bad experience with other dogs. So we need to shift this, right? You need to be the center of your dog's universe. So wherever you're going, you want to focus on you having fun with your dog, yeah? And then just a handful of times, once a week, twice a week, let your dog say hello to a dog, but it needs to ignore more than it can. The reason dog trainers' dogs are so good around other dogs, and when clients come to the training center, they're amazed that the dogs are just calm, chilled, and ignore the dogs barking at them. It's because that's what they've done ever since we've had them. They get to play with the dogs at the training center, the ones that actually belong to the trainers. They might be used to play with some of the clients' dogs that come in, depending on what is necessary. But 9 out of 10 dogs, they have to ignore.
Marie Cutler just sent $5 New Zealand. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, so in case you don't know what that is, guys, YouTube have this feature where you can give us a tip. Yeah, so basically you're giving us a tip for a tip. Now, it's not a requirement, yeah? You don't have to do that. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get your question answered. It just means if you are desperate to get your question answered and send a tip, you will become priority. But I will always give free advice. So, what is the question?
No, Marie was the martingale one with the greyhound.
Oh,
You've already
thank you.
Yeah, she was just saying thank you, so that was really nice of you.
That honestly, thank you.
Laura Goodchild, my Ridgeback is highly reactive to anyone or other dogs when we're at home, but absolutely fine with people dogs when they're out.
I don't understand the question.
Is
it bringing dogs into the house? It's unnecessary.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I mean, it's not clear, but yeah.
I mean, they're a very territorial dog. They're designed to protect their home and fucking everything in it from lions.
Yeah.
So, them warding off strange dogs. But people... We live in this world where people want to take their dogs everywhere with them, and this is why separation anxiety is so high. The reality is, I don't have anyone. Ev comes around my house, he brings the kids around the house. Ben's been around my house. They've got dogs. Have you ever brought your dogs around my house? No. And you never will.
I never want to either.
No, exactly.
I've only been invited round once and you weren't there.
Well, it's just my wife. That's not good.
Damn! I've let the cat out of the bag.
Shit.
Anyway.
Oh, the wife. Yeah, so the reality is, you don't need people to bring their dogs in your house. Yeah, your house should be for your dog. It's your dog's safe space. It doesn't need dogs in the house. If you have to bring another dog into your house, i.e. your family live far away and they're coming to stay and they have to bring their dog, then what you want to do is go for a nice long walk. Make sure both dogs are walking nicely on a lead. You want to meet a few times before where possible. You want to keep them on a lead when you come home. You want to make sure they have their own personal space respected. And go and watch the video on YouTube where we put two reactive dogs together, because both these dogs live together. Both these dogs live in separate houses, but the owners of these dogs got into a relationship, smooched a little bit. Now they're going to move in together, and now the dogs have to live together. So the video was all about putting two reactive dogs together. It's on YouTube. Go check it out.
Chris K, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Not even a question, just some support, so love that. And Katia, also thank you for supporting the channel. 17-week pup with separation anxiety, crate trained, but cries when we leave or go upstairs. We wait for quiet, still no progress. Neighbours complain.
Okay, so the reality is, it really sucks when you got neighbours that are fucking complaining. But let's make sure we've got all of our foundations in place, yeah? So I went to do a home visit last Thursday, and I was speaking to the client because their dog's restless, and their dog it's a flock guarding breed, so it's naturally protective. And what's happening is the dog's going to its bed, it's quite lazy, but then every 10-15 minutes it gets up, does its lap round the house, goes into the garden, barks its head off, comes back in, goes back to bed, sleeps. Every 10-15 minutes gets up. It's almost like they've got a fucking security guard, right? It's just going around doing its fucking rounds, and then goes and sits and fucking has a nap. Gets up, does its rounds, right? So we gave him advice on how to stop this. I said make sure the dog's on a lead inside the house. Stop letting the dog go into the garden whenever it feels like it. And I stopped the dog going into the garden on 2 separate occasions, because the dog's not going in there because it needs a toilet. If it needs to go to the toilet every 15 minutes, you need to take your dog to the vets. So I said to him, look, you need to limit how freely that dog goes in the garden, right? If it's been asleep for a couple of hours and wakes up, then take it in the garden on a lead. But if it's just trying to go in there every fucking 5 minutes, block it, stop it happening. And then what happened, because we stopped that 2 separate occasions, the dog slept the entire time. And the owner was like, I can't believe my dog slept this much. I said, it's because we have blocked it doing what it's normally doing, what has now become natural to it. And the fact that it always goes back to its bed afterward tells me that the dog's lazy and wants to sleep anyway. So we just bypassed that, and then the dog did what it wants to do originally, which is just sleep. Anyway, I do digress. The point of this is we started speaking about crates and how crates could help speed up this process, because it takes the need for you to be consistent out of it. Now, they said they tried a crate, but the dog fucking panted and howled and fucking knocked at the crate, so they gave up. And then they tried again, and it was even worse. And I said, that's because the dog got stressed and you let the dog out of the crate, so the dog learned that open the door. I said, how did you use the crate? They were only using the crate at bedtime or when they were leaving. So the crate actually represented abandonment. The crate represented they were leaving. So I said, you need to use the crate regularly. So when you're eating, stick the dog in the crate, put a blanket over the crate, yeah? Once you've finished eating, if the dog's howling, ignore the dog. When the dog's quiet, then let the dog out. That could be 5 minutes in the crate, could be half an hour in the crate, depending how long you're preparing the food and eating the food for. When after exercise, stick the dog in the crate for 2 hours, shut the door, blanket over the crate. Same thing. once the dog's gone to sleep, once it's woken up after a couple of hours, if it's howling, whining, ignore it. When it calms down, let it out. So what they're doing is putting the dog in the crate at regular intervals with that door shut, blanket over the crate to reduce visibility, make it more cozy. And the dog is learning that silence is what gets them out. Have a word with your neighbour. Say, look, I've spoken to a dog trainer. My dog is going to whine. Please do be patient with us. I've got you some gift vouchers so you can go and have a night out on us, or buy them a fucking bottle of wine if they like wine. Give them some sort of fucking gesture, right? Just reach out an olive branch to them and say, look, the dog needs to howl a little bit for it to learn the howling doesn't get it what it wants. It's a means to an end. So for the inconvenience, here's an olive branch, and hopefully that will work. There is a full chapter on separation anxiety in this book that can help you.
Let's see who's next. Jacob Edvardson. I have a 1-year-old Staffy. He gets quite easily stressed, excited when we're around dogs. How do I help him not get stressed?
Stop going to places where there's so many dogs and start going on better adventures with your dog. Staffies love fetch, Staffies love flirt pole, Staffies love tug of war. They've got a lot of pent up energy that they want to smash and grab hold of things, right? So take your dog, put it on a long line, go somewhere where you can see dogs, but way in the distance, play tug of war with your Staffy. Play flirt pole with your Staffy. Yeah. The reality is, when dogs get so excitable and lose their mind around other dogs, it's generally because they've been able to say hello to more dogs and they've ignored, as we demonstrated earlier. Remember, go out, have fun. The more you play with your dog, the more dogs become irrelevant. The more your dog plays with dogs, the more you become irrelevant.
Right, my dog's been scared to go outside since the fireworks. Do you have any tips?
Yep, put it on a slip lead, go in your garden, teach your dog what leash pressure means. Then literally, when you want to take your dog outside, lead over the head, come on, let's go, and off you go. I worked with a Great Dane a little while ago that exactly same thing happened. They were out, fireworks went off, then all of a sudden the dog developed a phobia of going out at night. Now, when I do a home visit, I always say to the person, right, show me what a walk looks like. So we purposely went and did a home visit when it was dark, right? Because that was the problem. So what they were doing, they get the leads out and the dog would go and run away. Then they're like, go to the cupboard, get the biscuits out, and they're like, here's one here. They're like shaking this, come on, come on, come on. And the dog's just standing there like looking so confused. But the reason he's looking confused is because the owners, at a moment where it's got stressed, are now acting really fucking weird. Normally they shout, enough, stop it, oi, get off, and just, yeah, it's all messy and calamity, right? But now all of a sudden they're like, come on, and the dog's like, what the fuck are you doing? So then they go over to the dog and put the lead on and say, come on, and the Great Dane's just like, no, not going. So I said, right, it's enough. Put a slip lead on the Great Dane. I said, I need you to move out my way. Excuse me. I said, I need you to move out my way. I said, I'm going to get your dog and we're going to go and it's going to happen really fucking fast. I was like, okay. So I went over to the dog, put a lead on the dog, went, come on, let's go. Went straight to the door, opened the door. Dog hesitated a bit, went, no, let's go. And the dog walked straight out the door. Didn't worry about thresholds here. We can fix that later on. I just didn't want to break momentum. Got out, walked all the way down the road. The dog didn't even look back, was absolutely fine. They said, I can't believe that. I said, you're making too much of a big deal about this. I said, you're feeling sorry for the dog. You're trying to negotiate with the dog. Someone just needs to come in and basically grab it by the fucking hand and say, this is what we're doing. It is this, it is that, black and white. Let's go. Remove your emotions. Teach your dog what the leash pressure means as well, because that's so much easier once your dog understands what that is. And again, video is on YouTube where you're watching this live.
Remain calm on this one, Adam. This one's going to anger you. Bex. I have a male Cavapoo, 18 months old. Hubby still buys puppy mats and insists they stay in the house. He does pee outside when taken, but in an evening we'll use the mats. 18-month-old Cavapoo still pisses in the house.
Of course it fucking does. You're teaching it it's okay. Right, in the nicest sense of the word, tell your husband this. When you put a pad down in the house, your dog is doing the act of going to the toilet in the house. Your dog is getting away with going to the toilet in the house. Your dog thinks it's okay to go a toilet in the house. Then when your dog misses the pad because it's got fucking piss on it, or because it got close to it, or because it stood on something that resembled a mat, like a rug, like a doormat, and pisses and you tell it off, it gets so fucking confused because a second ago it was fine to wee in the house. Dogs pissing in the house, they're taught it is normal when you use puppy pads. Yeah? Ditch the puppy pads. No good comes from puppy pads other than using them to clean up a fucking accident. But then they go in the bin. Yeah? Put your dog on a decent diet as well because that can really help with toilet training. I used to wake up to a poop every morning in my house, no matter how many times I put my dog in the garden, no matter how many times I let her out before we went to bed, no matter how consistent I was. Every morning I would wake up to a poo, and I knew it was my Staff, my late Staff, Sammy. Put her on a raw food diet, never woke up to an accident again.
Love Nails by Jade Hickson. I have a Rossi 7-month-old, great boy, great training, but when it's rough play, I can't turn it off, so he jumps up and bites. Any advice?
Yeah, so it's over arousal. So when dogs get overstimulated, they can hump, they can jump up, they can mouth, they can get zoomies, they can exhibit a lot of behaviour. Some can whine, some can bark. It's just a sheer over arousal. When I'm playing with a dog for the first time, and I know that they can go OTT, that's over the top in case anybody doesn't know. When they get OTT, if I know they're likely to do this, I will always play with them on a lead. Guys, remember, one of the simplest inventions in the world, which is one of the best inventions that can solve a lot of your fucking problems, is a lead. Yeah? So I will play with my dog that's on a lead. So I'll have that lead and I'll run around with the dog, rough up the dog a little bit, and then I will completely stop and remove my attention, and I'll have the lead, I'll shorten up that lead. So if the dog jumps up, I can get it off of me. If the dog starts mouthing, I can correct the dog. But best part of it is it's called working your dog's energy levels. So you excitement, calm. You want the dog to mirror you. Excitement, calm. Demonstrated this on a video that isn't on YouTube. This one's actually on the Southend Dog Training app with a Mastiff mix that would nip at your bum and nip at your ankles and nip at your feet when it got overexcited. So on the Southend Dog Training app or Southend Dog Training's website, there is a tutorial with a Mastiff that exhibits the same problems that you're having, and I'll show you how we stop it very quickly. Go check that out.
Right. Wait. Oh, that's a very long name, so I'm not going to read it. My friend has a German Shepherd, and it's a bit aggressive, and he doesn't know what to do. So, do you know anything that could help?
Yes. 01702 746961. It's half price. So go and tell your friend. Actually, tell him it's full price. Nick half the money. No, I'm joking. Don't do that. That's deceitful. Yeah, tell your friend if he doesn't know where to turn. Right now, we have a half price, 1-to-1 dog training. Yeah, with Aaron or Sophie. 01702 746961.
Yeah, right. So Love Nails by Jade Hickson. Sorry, it's just carry on doing what she's doing. We do have a rag toy and say leave it, which she does perfectly and sits. So basically, yeah, he's on a lead most of the time. Sorry.
Yeah. So watch that video on the Southend Dog Training app, and if you're a member of the app, send us a video. So one of the perks of being on that app is you can send us videos of the problems you're having, and we can break it down, see what you're doing well, see where you need a little bit of help, and give you advice based on your individual needs. That's the beauty of the Southend Dog Training app, guys.
Asia York. Come to York, please.
Why? You can come to us.
We could go to York, but it's not going to be cheap. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
York's quite far away. It'd be far cheaper for you to come to us.
Yeah, so the reason we have a training centre is so we have a base of operations that you guys can come to, and it keeps the costs down for you. The reality is problems outside the home, you're always going to get the maximum benefit by coming to the training centre, because that's where we've got access to all of our dogs. That's where there's often other clients there. It's where it's more real life. We'll have the gardener out doing things. There's horses at our training centre. So everything that you've got, excuse me, everything that you need, we have there, including electric scooters, fucking motorbikes, cars.
Yeah.
You name it, it's there that we can help you with. The only time we really do home visits is if the problems are specifically inside the house, i.e. your dog's great outside, but has issues in the home. But obviously, you have to look at geography, right? York to Southend is a long way away.
Probably 4 hours, I guess?
Yeah. So you have to then factor that into the cost. I can do 2 jobs at the training centre in 4 hours, whereas I'm doing 8 hours traveling, yeah? So then you have to make it beneficial to send that trainer to York. So then you've got to pay for their fuel. If they are far away, you might have to pay for their accommodation overnight, and this all gets factored in. So it works out a hell of a lot cheaper if you guys come to us, particularly as we have a half price right now.
You'd be mad not to take us up on the offer.
And if you think York is far away, last
California.
night's video, Ben, can you make me a drink, please? I've got like a fucking bubble in my throat. Last night's video that was posted on YouTube, those guys drove down from Scotland. Yeah, and we're working on a video at the minute where the lady drove down from Wales, got up at 4 a.m, drove down from Wales, did her fucking session, then went all the way back to Wales in one day. I was like, that is mental.
She's crazy.
She's cray.
Yeah.
But committed is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Tea, please.
Demi Fox, what's the best way to help reactivity with new people coming into my house?
Desensitise your dog to the doorbell first and foremost. Because the doorbell is the first sort of trigger that lets your dog know that there's a potential danger in its mind. So when your dog hears the doorbell, it goes mental. Second mistake we make is we open the door when the dog is going mental. So the dog learns going mental, gets them closer to that uncomfortable thing. Yeah. Or then the third mistake we make is we shut the dog away. So you've got a dog that's barking, a dog that's stressed, a dog that's scared, and now you've locked it in a room by itself when it doesn't know how to cope or regulate its emotions properly. Just feels abandoned, and then when you bring it out, the problem didn't go away, so the dog continues to react. So step one is desensitising your dog to the doorbell. Have your dog on a lead inside the house, play doorbell sounds, download an app where it can play the doorbell sounds, get yourself a doorbell that has a button you can push, whatever. You just want to play that doorbell. Let the dog go run into the door, barking its head off. Slowly get up, go to the door, pick up the dog's lead, stand between the dog and the door, tell the dog enough. When the dog stops barking, give the dog a treat. Open the door. There's obviously not going to be anyone on the other side of the door, right? If the dog tries to go forward, just put the dog back into a sit. Yeah. Shut the door, go and sit back down, rinse and repeat. Ev, do you want a drink?
Okay, cheers. Dude.
Then
Thank
repeat
you.
this at random times throughout the day, because that's often when doorbells go off at random times throughout the day. So now you're forming what the dog's to do when the door goes. So when the time of somebody actually turning up happens, your dog now has an idea of what it's meant to do. Then all you do is make sure your dog is calm before you open the door. Then you walk further away to create a bit more space, and you get your dog, your guests to ignore the dog, act as if it's not there. No interaction with your dog whatsoever. You can funnel some treats for good behaviour. Keep the dog with you. Very quickly, your dog will start to relax because you are giving your dog instructions.
Savage Apple's got a great question. Are you gay?
Am I gay?
Yeah.
If the price is right.
Yeah. And I'm not, but my boyfriend is.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not gay, but I like gay sex.
here's your tea, honey. So anyway, yeah, great question there.
To be
Great.
fair, I'll do anything if the price is right.
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
I can concur.
I think that's actually about it. Helly's got a weird question.
Is it weirder than are you gay?
Yeah, I don't know where they're coming from today. Why do they call it an oven when you of in the cold food and out hot eat the food? I see.
Right. I can't read, but they can't write.
Yeah.
I have no idea what.
Chris K. Chris K has actually got a real question, and he supported the channel. Thank you so much.
Chris, you're amazing.
You've saved the day.
Thank you. Spare us from this insanity.
3-year-old border collie is very hostile to always play with him, even after hours of exercise at the park. He doesn't have an off button. When back home, he always brings toys out to play with help. So toys laying around. And, yeah,
right. So the reality is, if you've got a greyhound or a mastiff or an English bulldog or a naturally lazy dog, right, many times these dogs will naturally just go and switch off. Yeah, so you take them for a walk, you come back, all that dog's going to want to do is sleep. When you've got what we call adrenaline junkies, particularly like the high energy working breeds, like your Vizslas, like your Weimaraners, like your Spaniels, your Border Collies, your Australian cattle dogs, your Australian Shepherds, right? When we've got these intense dogs, we can give them hours of exercise. But what makes these dogs so good at working for long hours is they don't know when to stop. So sometimes the exercise that they're having isn't necessarily the problem. It's the not knowing how to decompress that's the problem. So one of the first things I do with any dog, whether it's a puppy or whether it's a rescue dog, and I've done this with all of my dogs, and this isn't forever, I don't have to do this anymore, but is after exercise, I come back and stick the dog in the crate so the dog can switch off and decompress. And then, and then what happens is after a period of a week or two, after exercise, the dog will naturally start to switch off, and then you can put it on a spot on the bed or a spot on the sofa and things like that. It might not be a case your dog's not getting enough exercise. It might be a case of your dog doesn't know how to decompress, and the fact there's toys lying around the house means your dog is constantly looking for something to do. Not all dogs know what is best for them, and sometimes they have to be shown what's best for them, even if at the time they don't necessarily think it's what's best for them.
So we've been live for 56 minutes. I reckon we can make it to the hour.
Go on then.
Right, Alfie. Hi, 7-month-old Rossi. She is very reactive to children, mostly when the children are running around. Any tips?
Yeah, so I'm pretty certain there is a website video with a Rottweiler with this exact issue. If not, there is definitely one with a Rhodesian Ridgeback with this issue, and the techniques that you apply are the same. Now, on the website, there is a full-length video of a Rhodesian Ridgeback that used to knock the kids over whenever they were playing, would try and steal their football and stuff like that. And I'll show you how you teach the dog place. Place is basically sending your dog to a specific spot where they have to stay until release or given further instructions. The dog is on a lead. Remember, guys, that lead will help you. And then what we do is we get the kids. I actually had my daughter come into work with me. I love it when I get to bring my daughter into work with me. She was running around, throwing the ball, and we're teaching this dog to stay in one spot. When it tries to come off, no, put it straight back. When the dog makes good choices, using some of its breakfast or some of its dinner to reward the dog. And then after a while, the dog just laid down, got the hang of it, absolutely fine. Then we go to moving around with the dog on a lead as the kids are still playing. It's just teaching the dog what you want it to do. My late Rottweiler used to do it as soon as the kids would start screaming and get excited, running around the garden. The Rottweiler would want to run around with them and easily get a little bit turned on by all the excitement. So I used to put the dog in a down and watch the world go by. Sometimes watching is the best medicine, and your dog having that strict instructions of what's expected of them.
Last question, probably. Sarah Cassano. Do you think you spend more time training the owners other than the dogs?
100%. 100%. Dogs are easy. This is why we don't do boarding trains and why a lot of boarding trains aren't overly successful. It's because any dog trainer worth their salt should be able to remove the owner from the equation and get that dog to start to behave very, very quickly. It's literally our job. Yeah, if a dog trainer can't remove an owner from a situation and almost make an immediate impact on that dog, they probably shouldn't be working with dogs. The hard part of our job, though, that's not realistic. The hard part of our job is teaching the owner. The owners have their own fears, their own baggages, their own anxieties, their own fucking beliefs on what's best for their dog. They're the ones that some of them want help, but they don't want to change themselves or admit they've got a problem. So the hardest part of the equation is transferring all of your knowledge over to the handler and getting the handler to confidently communicate with the dog. The handler is by far the person that needs the most training.
We got Ulrich. Hey, greetings from Northern Germany.
Love that.
I did ask that as you was drinking as well. So that's
yeah,
perfect.
I know. We honestly, right? We've actually even seen an increase, right? So we've got a really good German following. So much so that we now have German subtitles that you can watch on our YouTube videos, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah, some are
people
dubbed.
are actually watching it. You can see that there is an audience in Germany that are using those German subtitles, which is amazing.
Yes, we've got 1 more minute left, guys, and then we've got to crack on with other bits of the day. So, last question, quick fire. We have a 13-month-old Border Terrier pup. Using your video, he walks well to hill. Could taking him running with me ruin the hill training? Thanks.
No, just start slow jogs, pick up your pace. Running is, excuse me, When I run with a dog, I have it at heel. I'm not a fan of the dog running in front of me. I think it's far too quick for that dog to fucking get distracted or pull you over or trip you up. So when I run, all running to me is just fast heel. So heel is the dog walking by your side, yeah, at your pace. So if I do a jog, I expect the dog still to be at heel, and if I'm sprinting, I expect the dog still to be at heel. Start slow and gradually work up, and be prepared to stop if the dog starts to get silly, to communicate, slow it back down, and just practice those speed changes.
Would you recommend a different piece of equipment for running as opposed to walking, so the dog understands the difference between the two?
No.
No?
No, not me personally, because again, when the dog's at heel, there should be no tension on that lead.
Oh, okay, so yeah, because you have them at heel either way.
Yeah, because I have them at heel, it doesn't matter.
I was thinking of like canicross sort of thing.
No, so obviously canicross is a very different thing.
Yeah.
So it's a great question. So I used to do what's called mushing with my dogs. I went through a phase of doing a little bit of mushing. Those that don't know what mushing is, that's basically where you're attaching a dog to a three-wheeled scooter or a two-wheeled scooter, and they're pulling you. I went through a spell of working with a lot of Alaskan Malamutes and Huskies, and it's a very popular sport amongst those breed enthusiasts. So I dabbled in it with my late Rottweiler and my Staffy and some of the clients' dogs I was working with to help them out, to give them something to focus on. So what I did there, because my dogs are so programmed that when they've got a collar on, to yield to pressure, just like that, as soon as they went to pull, they would just stop. So I had to condition them that when they're in a harness, they can pull like a fucking freight train, but when they've got a collar on, they're to walk nicely. So if you can do canicross, you can teach your dog in a harness to pull like a freight train. But for me, if you want a nice control, just jogging with your dog, going running with your dog, just have it by your side, heel.
But yes, on that note, guys, that is the end of the live. Chris K said, please do more live streams. We will. And Dan Spen said, is that your real phone number?
It's not my personal phone number.
But it is the one for the company.
You need to pay me a lot of money for my personal phone number. This is the actual phone number for the company. This is, you ring that, you get through to Southend Dog Training office. You speak to Gemma, the lovely lady on the phone, and she can advise you what is best for you and your dog going forward, and give you some temporary advice to help you in the meantime. That is also the number you ring if you want a half-price session right now. So if you want to get your dog trained in time for the summer, do that. If you haven't already done so, guys, please do give this a thumbs up. And if you aren't subscribed, please do subscribe and help us grow this channel. We will be doing more lives. We are trying to find a consistent date and time so we can do these consistently each week, so you always know when we're going to be live. Thank you.